Okay, now that we're recording, I would like to call the meeting to order. Start with the roll call. Alicia, let me see if everyone's here.
Sure, I can actually, I have the attendance sheet here, so I'll just call everybody's name. Jason Tamura,
Here,
Jose Aguilera Galvan,
Here.
Esther Acosta. I know Esther's here.
I'm
Robert
sorry,
Doyle.
I'm here.
Oh, it's okay.
I
Gotcha.
forgot to unmute myself.
Gotcha. Robert Doyle. I saw Robert. Angie Bolden. I see you.
Yes.
Angie. Tim Seifert. I see Tim. Audrey Bustamante. I see Audrey as well. Rosalie Marquez. See her. Isaac Berumen. Gotcha.
Here.
With the San Francisco background. Very nice.
Yes. 'Cause I
And-
also have a.
Oh, goodness. Jennifer
Yeah.
Camacho Tiburcio.
Here.
Oh, there's Jennifer. There she is. Thank you. And again, thank you all for being so accommodating and agreeing to meet very last minute in switching our regular meeting to tonight's special meeting. Because of the weather, we just did not feel it was a good idea to have you all drive to the meeting. And then we weren't really sure what the conditions were going to look like today. So we figured we would cancel yesterday's meeting and then re-agendize it as a special meeting for tonight, being that it is a pretty important meeting. So we definitely want to go over a few things. Again, though, if you have any questions individually that you'd like to have addressed or any comments or concerns leading into the site visits or the CDBG funding process in general, please reach out to Alicia or me at any time. I'd be happy to go over that with you, especially the newer committee members who aren't as familiar with the process.
Cool. Thank you, Rosie. If we could have everyone who has a chance to review the minutes of the December 12th meeting, and if I can get a motion to approve them, or if there's any comments.
I move to approve the minutes.
I second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone
Aye.
opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay, thank you. Public comment period. I don't see anyone in the participants. Is there anyone with you, Rosie, or is this just us tonight?
Yeah, I don't see anybody on our end. Initially, we had seen somebody by the name of Nancy pop up, but I don't see that person anymore.
All right, then we can move on to reports from staff.
All right, update on Block Grants Advisory Committee vacancies. I am aware that there have been a couple of applications received, and there are a couple of people that are being considered to be appointed to the Block Grants Advisory Committee, and a final decision will be made at next Tuesday's meeting of the City Council, which is January 17th. So more to come.
Excellent. And then the update on the existing activities.
All right.
I have for Chapel Plaza rehabilitation, which is a fiscal year 2020-21 project. It's near completion. They're currently still waiting for PG&E to hook up the electricity, and resurfacing and staining of the stage is still needed. For the City of Santa Maria ADA and pedestrian safety accessibility improvement project. That project's currently out to bid, and the bid opening will take place on the 24th of January. And they're anticipating to award the bid on February 15th with project completion to occur right before the end of the fiscal year. For City of Santa Maria Recreation and Parks Department, Presker Park, which is a fiscal year 21-22 project. After going out to bid and selecting a contractor, it appears that the proposal wasn't completed as they anticipated. So the Public Works Department will be going with the second lowest bid. And that proposal will go to City Council on January 17th for final approval. The wharf hydrant replacement project is complete, so I blacked that one out there. Capsule minor home repair, which is a current fiscal year contract. The agency submitted an invoice for expenses that were incurred during the first quarter. This invoice includes 6 completed projects and it was sent back for revisions. There will be 5 completed projects that will be billed for the second quarter, and 5 projects are underway and 1 assessment is pending. Communify, their Safe at Home minor home repair program. Meeting was held on January 4th, just last week, to discuss some of the concerns that we had with them regarding their invoicing, and also just to touch base to see where they're at. And Communify created a change order form that they'll submit to us if there are any project delays, just to keep us updated and to avoid any issues when it comes to invoicing. The reporting periods were also extended to make sure that their assessments are being billed with accomplishments. And as of today, there are 15 completed projects, 1 project pending our approval, and then 1 project pending a Communify assessment. Good Samaritan shelters, kitchen equipment upgrade and installation. That one, the contract has been awarded, and we just need to schedule a pre-construction meeting with the contractors. For public service updates, the majority of public service subrecipients have submitted at least 1 invoice. And the end of the quarter, the second quarter just ended on December 31st. So second quarter reports are due by the end of January. So typically we'll receive a lot of invoices around that time. So does anyone have any questions regarding the capital project updates?
What are they doing in Brisket Park?
A walking trail.
Walking trail, okay, that.
Yeah, so currently, if you're gonna go for a walk there, you have to walk in the parking lot. And that can be very dangerous unless
Oh.
you go, yeah, unless you go, you know, actually walk on the grass, but there's nothing paved where it allows you to take a nice little stroll. And during the pandemic, they realized that a lot of people were looking to get some exercise outdoors because they couldn't use the gyms, they couldn't, you know, do anything indoors. So they realized that a lot of people were using the parking lot as a walking trail, and which can be very dangerous. So it'll be really nice, especially for that
Okay.
area that doesn't really have anything nearby.
That's cool. Okay.
I also forgot to add the Boys and Girls Club, the CDBG CV project. They stated that bleachers have finally arrived and been assembled and installed. They also stated that they're not going to spend all the funding that was awarded, but they're in need of HVAC units. So they might be able to get the contractor to donate the labor if they could use the CDBG CV funding to purchase the units. So there's an update for the CDBG CV project. And it looks like Yvonne is in the waiting room, so she'll be joining us.
All right, thank you, Alicia, for the update. Does anyone else have any questions or comments about that? Okay, then let's move on to number 6, the CDBG process for this year.
All right, we'll start off with public services and capital project staff analysis. So you all received copies of the staff analysis put together by us staff, and it gives you an overview of not only a description of the activity that these agencies are applying for, but also a performance rating that we have assigned the nonprofits based on previous years of experience working with them under CDBG. And instead of, since you have all of this information handy, we figured it would be better to, for the sake of time, to just go over any of the ones that rated a 3, 4, or 5, a 3 being needs improvement, a 4 being that the agency has submitted an invoice or late reports and the agency, but the agency is responsive, or sorry, my apologies. Let me circle back. Anything that's getting a 3 or less. So a 3 is needs improvement, a 2 definitely needs improvement, a 1 is unacceptable. So we'll just, instead of going over the 4s and 5s, which are satisfactory, or maybe they were late once, but they're very responsive, we were just going to focus on the ones that got a 3 or below. But of course, we're happy to answer any questions if you have questions about any of the other ones. But if that's okay with all of you, we'll go ahead and proceed with just the ones that received a 3 or less. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
I agree.
Okay, wonderful. So should Alicia, do you want to start off, or do you want me to start off?
Do you want to do like the capital and I'll do public services?
Sure.
Or
Yeah,
on both
that-
tab?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
perfect.
I'll do, I have public services, so I have Family Service Agency, Santa Maria Valley Youth and Family Center, for their Family Resource Center. So they received a 3, because in the past they haven't fully expended their full allocation, whether it be public services or capital. So that's why they got marked down slightly, but they're currently being funded with CDBG, I believe, and we haven't had any issues. So the performance is just based on previous fiscal years. I also have Good Samaritan Shelter, Freedom Warming Center. They received a 3 just because they left quite a bit of funding on the table this previous fiscal year. They were unable to expend $7,288.53, which is almost half of their allocation. But they had mentioned that they received CARES CV funding that needed to be expended right away. So they spent that funding and they didn't need the CDBG funding. So they anticipate that they won't be receiving CARES CV for the current fiscal year, and it shouldn't be an issue. So the agency is responsive when revisions need to be made, and we don't have any issues with their homeless shelter program. So that's also important to know. We have the Salvation Army Hot Lunch Program. During fiscal year 21-22, the agency did not expend a portion of its grant allocation. And also in the fiscal year 2020-21 monitoring letter, city staff addressed issues regarding their timeliness and the administrative capacity to administer the grant. We just had a lot of follow-up to their invoices and reporting and stuff like that.
Alicia, Alicia, to go back to the Good Samaritan, if they're not going to be using the $7,000 funding, what happens to that money? Our
That
money.
is just rolled over to the next fiscal year
Okay,
and is just used towards, can be used towards capital, but it can't be rolled over for public services.
oh, too bad. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, any other questions on public service, or should I move on to capital? All right, I'll
Okay.
move on to capital. Under capital, both of our minor home repair programs received, well, one received a 1.5 and one received a 3.5. So ComUnify's minor home repair received a 1.5. As you are aware, we have had some challenges with them throughout the years regarding expending their funding in a timely fashion and also on their reporting and documentation of activities. They have shown improvement. As Alicia explained earlier, we did have a meeting with them last week, and they are working on ways to better improve the administration of the CDBG funds. And they do seem confident that they will be able to expend the full amount by this June. Then we have Capslo's minor home repair. Capslo received a 3.5, which is above a 3, but we figured since it was still in the 3 range, we would go over that. During fiscal year 2019-2020, it was unable to expend the funds, much like ComUnify. Part of that could have been the pandemic, because a lot of people did not feel comfortable with having individuals in their home, which is understandable. Both agencies are aware of everything that we're discussing, so this has been addressed with them. And then we've also had discussions with Capslo about its timeliness. During the reporting period, the agencies, during 21-22 reporting period, the agency's second quarter progress report and final annual report were submitted late. And but their overall performance has improved. And then the last one that we have as a 1, which is unacceptable, is Los Adobes de Maria. And that's basically based on what they're asking to use the funding for. And we discussed this at last month's meeting, which is that they are wanting to use the funding for relocation costs. And after further discussion with HUD and just getting a little more familiar with what that entails, it's too much of an administrative burden and a liability on the city to take that on, especially when if all of these applicants receive funding, there's only going to be about $300,000 left for that project, which they are aware of and they're okay with. But that being said, $300,000 for relocation costs is not going to go very far, and it's going to be a lot of work and a lot of liability for the amount. So the bang for your buck isn't really there. So that could be repurposed another way. I see we have somebody in the waiting room. Let me let somebody in here. Any questions on that?
Yeah, Bob Doyle.
Yeah.
Since this is one of our team's going to review, I was working on it today. Do they understand the council's, really what you wrote on your summary? Do they understand that?
Yes, we have addressed that with them. We actually brought that up before they submitted the application, and they still said they wanted to have it go through the process, which, we respect. So we're having it go through the process. And of course, this is staff's recommendation, and it still needs to be vetted by the committee, and it still needs to be vetted by the city council. So it just like everything else is a staff recommendation based on staff's analysis of each project and activity.
Because I was kind of thinking about asking them for what their total costs are going to be for relocation and things like that, and kind of work it down.
That would be great. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. If you're on the site visit team for this one, definitely treat it like any other one. This is ultimately up to the committee. It's just our job to do the analysis and provide that to you and the city council.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, Joe. Are you a member of the public?
Hi, yeah, it's Joe from Peoples. I just
Oh,
joined a little bit
we
late.
were just chatting about Peoples.
I thought that's what you were. I wasn't sure though. I didn't want to jump in and say anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is there anything, I'm sure you came on here. Did you come on here just to kind of hear things out, or did you have anything you wanted to share?
Well, I was curious to see if you guys were gonna mention our project at all in our application, and sure enough, I guess I joined just as you guys did. But yeah, I was for a little bit of background for those of you on the committee. I'm new to development in California. I've primarily done development in Texas, and I've never done a USDA project before, which this project has USDA on it. So I was also personally a little surprised at the amount of relocation costs that we had to put the bill for in order to rehab this project. But the reason I mentioned the USDA is that the rates that the residents pay are even lower than standard low-income housing subsidies. So the disparity between the market rate rent that we're paying for them to relocate offsite and what they actually pay is quite high. So yeah, I was a little taken aback the first time I saw the number 2 and went, wow, that's pretty crazy. So I think I had mentioned to Rosie, and we didn't anticipate getting the whole allocation. We just thought that our number was big enough that whatever was left over that other programs didn't need, we would just take what was left. We didn't have the anticipation of actually taking the full amount of CDBG funds. If you guys had leftover, we could easily eat that. And the relocation was, less monitoring, less things to worry about in terms of work on the back end. I've used relocation expense for CDBG for disaster recovery for some of the Hurricane Harvey aftermath for projects down here in Texas. And we did the same thing, and it resulted in less additional, I won't say monitoring, but it was kind of less work for everybody to worry about, reporting requirements, construction, and making sure that the different policies that came along with government funding had to be met on all levels across everything. So it just simplified some of the complexity for us.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, and as we discussed too, and what I was sharing with the committee, while on your end it may seem like it's less work, it is a lot more work and liability for the city. And as I had explained, there's a few things that are cause for concern and why staff's analysis is the way it is, which I've shared with you. And that is one, the original proposal was submitted for renovation costs, not relocation costs. So that's what was presented to council and what council initially vetted. And then 2, relocation costs is a lot more. It's a lot more. It is an eligible expense under CDBG, but it's not a requirement under the circumstances. And also, it is a more of a liability and an administrative burden on city staff than what renovation costs would be. And under the circumstances too, with not being able to provide a lot of money to something like this, $300,000, let's say, if that's what's left over after everybody else is funded, is not, it may not make much of a dent in the overall amount that people self-help will have to spend on renovation costs, relocation costs. But that being said, it is as requested being vetted through the process.
That's all we can ask.
Since Joe is here, and thank you, Joe, for joining us. Does anybody have any questions? I don't. We will have a committee that will be going out in the next couple of weeks to conduct a site visit. But are there any questions that anybody has at this point in time, since Joe is able to join us?
No. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Joe, you're more than welcome to keep to stay on. We're going to move on with our agenda.
Okay, well, I guess I timed it perfectly then. So
Yeah, that was
nice meeting
perfect
you all.
timing. Yeah, nice meeting you too. So thank you for joining us. I'm really glad you were able to attend.
Thanks. You
All
guys
right.
have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Okay, so we're going to move on, but you're welcome to stay. So moving on, if nobody has any questions on the staff analysis, we'll move on to site visit procedures and team report overview. Alicia, would you like to take it away? Alicia and Adriana worked really hard on this, by the way, and you'll get to meet Adriana, our housing and community services technician, at next month's meeting. Today's her birthday, so we were like, we didn't want her to have to log on her birthday.
Sure. So everyone should have received this memo along with the shared folder. So the shared folder will just include this document, and which includes a lot of helpful resources that you'll need during the site visits. The shared folder also has a PDF version of each application. It has your site visit team report template. So pretty much everything that you need is in that shared folder. So if you have any issues getting through, just let me know. If it requests a code, sometimes the code will be sent to your junk mail, so just double check that. But this memo just provides an overview of what's in this PDF packet. So it's a timetable of the key dates for the funding process, tips for reviewing applications, guidance on conducting site visits, just what to expect when you're at your site visit. Just a reminder that you represent the city of Santa Maria and also your city council members. So just maintain just be professional, to make sure to silence your phones during the site visits and all of that. It also includes your site visit teams, your contact information. So if you need to get a hold of your team members, the priorities for the current fiscal year, the vision statement, federal guidelines for eligibility, as well as our city criteria, and then also the application summaries and staff analysis for both public services and capital. So everyone should have reviewed their site visit schedules. And just to let you know, the team leaders, we have binders for you, which includes applications for each of your site visits. So Jason, Esther, Bob Doyle, Patricia, and Jose are all team leaders. So if you want to coordinate either pick up or we can also drop off to you. So just let us know. Site visits start next week. So just let us know when you'd like to get your binders. Team reports will be due by Tuesday, January 31st, so that we can consolidate them and make sure that they're ready for deliberations. And it'll also allow for us to have time for any questions and all of that. So here's our timetable for the fiscal year. A memo on application review. So Rosie, I don't know if you still want to do the Zoom grants training or make it optional, but I have a resource provided here on how to review applications. It's pretty general, so I'll just bring it up here. So if you just need a refresher on how to access Zoom grants, this provides a step-by-step here. So there'll be tabs up at the top, application. And we don't do any of the scoring features, so it'll mainly be just application review. But if you have any questions along the way, you can always reach out to us. And you also have a section where you can add private notes to each application and they won't be viewable to anyone else. But that's available for you in the PDF document. practice guidance on conducting site visits. And in our site visit schedule, we provide phone numbers for the contact people that will be at your site visit. So if you're running a little bit late, you can give them a heads up. And we try to schedule at least 15 minutes in between each site visit to allow time for travel and just anything that might come up. We also gave you about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour for lunch. And here are the site visit teams with the team leaders. The contact list. Did anyone have any issues getting into the shared folder?
No.
No.
No, it was got in.
Yeah, it was easy.
Great. And then also in the email, I provided a link. It's a quick access link to, I'll share it. Let's see. So in the email that I sent out with the agenda, there's the quick access to read only grant application. So you could click on that and you don't need to log in, and it's very user friendly. So you don't even have to log into Zoom Grants for application review. I just thought I'd add that as an option. But does anyone have any questions, or Rosie, is there anything that you'd like to add?
No, this all looks good. We do have it on the agenda that we will, we do have additional Zoom Grants training on the application review if needed. I think what we did last year, now that it's all coming back to me, is we basically, if anybody wanted to stay on after the meeting, we would just go over that training with them. And I think because we were going to do this in person, we didn't structure the agenda that way, but since we ended up moving it at the last minute, now I think it's all coming back to me. So maybe that's what we can do, is after we adjourn, if anybody wants to stay on to go over Zoom Grants, we can definitely do that. Or if you'd like to schedule a separate time to meet with us, we can definitely go over Zoom Grants with you so you know how to access it. And that's not a problem.
Rosie, this is Angie. Could you, I have it going to my iCloud, and I have to put my iCloud up on my phone. Could you send me to my Gmail where I can get on my laptop to the Gmail? It's angiebolden12@gmail.com.
You're muted, Rosie.
Sorry about that. Angie, just so that we're not putting your personal email out, since we do end up posting this meeting, do you mind, we can either give you a call or email you later, and you can just confirm that email address to us, and
Yeah.
we'll be happy to do that.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Alicia. Any questions on the site visit procedure and team report overview? No?
Or is there anything that the committee members want to add about their experience for the site visits in the past?
Oh, that's a good.
Anything you want to share with Audrey since it's our first
You
go
know,
around?
I'll go ahead and say something. This is Yvonne. One of the things that I appreciated on my last team visit is that, you know, the experience of the team leader and the people on the team really guided me through the process and helped with the team report. So you're definitely not in the clouds when you're going through the process. You have a really good, I think you all do a really good job in putting, you know, the right people together. So it's good.
Thank you. That's yeah, we do definitely try to put the more experienced committee members with the newer committee members.
Mhm.
That way nobody's left, to fend for themselves. So thanks for noticing that.
Yeah, I just want to thank the staff for putting it all together. You guys do a great job of arranging everything to make sure everyone gets the site visit in one day, which is astounding to me. So thank you again for doing that.
I will give all the credit to Alicia and Adriana. They really worked really hard on it and to try to get it all squared away and organized, not just on the committee's end, but also to make sure that it worked out for every agency that you're visiting. So all the credit goes to them.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to move on to overview of upcoming deliberation process, Monday, February 13th and Thursday, February 16th. So the February 13th deliberations process is an opportunity to allow the agencies that applied for funding to address the committee one more time in a collective fashion. So even though they're going to have the ability to meet with 3 of you, there in years past there was a request to have them meet with everybody. So this is the opportunity to do that. And that's why we split it up into 2 meetings, because having that take place plus the deliberations all in one night, you'd be there 4 to 5 hours. So this way we break it up and we have one night of just agencies coming before the the Block Grants Advisory Committee, and then we have a separate meeting just for deliberations. So what worked out really well last time is to have the meeting where the agencies come and speak before the committee via virtually, so via Zoom. It worked out really well because it allowed agency representatives to attend and participate without having to drive. Many of them, they're based in Santa Barbara and their services are provided here in Santa Maria, but their main office is in Santa Barbara and they'd have to drive all the way here to attend the meeting. This way, they can still attend the meeting, participate without having to drive so far. The second meeting on Thursday, February 16th, that one will be in person, and that is because it'll make it easier for the committee to deliberate. And in that meeting, the public is welcome to attend, but they're not allowed to speak in regards to what's taking place that night. So they can come and talk about, there's a public comment period where they can talk about something else, but they can't discuss CDBG funding for 23-24. So the February 16th meeting is going to be at, remind me, Alicia, did we decide it was Muscle Senior Center?
For February 16th, yeah, Muscle Senior Center, I submitted the room use application. It should be good to go, but I'll send out an email just to confirm once it has been.
Thank you. We were debating whether we were going to do Muscle or another facility, but we ended up with Muscle Senior Center. It seems to be more centrally located for everyone. And since Shepherd Hall and the Learning Center and the library are not available that night, that one was the closest one to the City Central location. So also there was a request at the last year when we did the Survey Monkey to have a practice run. So we do have a practice link that I just put in the chat that will allow you to kind of play around with Survey Monkey. And again, this is not, you're not ranking anything officially. It's got all of the and again, just a reminder, the Survey Monkey only reflects the public service applications, because usually that's the one where you've got the most applications and the one where you kind of have to rank them a little it's a little harder to rank. So that's why we put it in a Survey Monkey. So when you're looking at the Survey Monkey, it only has the public service applications. It does not have the capital. And so if you are able to click on that link, you will see the 24 applications. And let me see if I can share my screen so you can so I can show you how to play around with it.
But Patricia is in the waiting room, so I'm gonna let her in.
Oh, awesome.
Rosie, will we be doing this at the meeting through, so will we need to bring like a tablet or a phone that we can do this on, or?
Oh, that's a great question. Yes, ideal. Yes, a smartphone, a tablet, a computer, anything electronic where you will be able to access this link. And if you do not have one, we will bring a few extras that you can borrow. Thank you for that reminder. The last few times we've done Survey Monkey, I don't believe we were in person. I believe we've always done it
No, not for the last few
electronically.
years. We've all been doing it over Zoom,
Yeah.
so we'll be in
Which
person
is
again.
so weird.
Because we did
Can
it
you-
with paper one time, but this is better.
Yeah. Can you believe we were just talking about it yesterday? It's been almost 3 years since the pandemic began. March will be 3 years. It's wild. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
So a few little tricks. So when you rank, you can always click and then a drop down menu comes up with all of the numbers, and you can click 1, you can click 2, 3, 8, 9, or let me take it back to 0.
Oh,
Let me take it back to 0. Or you can see how when I hover over the left-hand side where those
Yeah.
lines are, it kind of changes, and it kind of changes into like a northwest, southeast.
yeah.
You can move it. So you hold the mouse down and you can move it wherever you want. And when you move it, it automatically populates everything else.
Oh,
So like if I move it here, it'll move things around for me without me having to manually change the numbers. It'll automatically rearrange the numbers based on where I drop the row.
Now,
So if I,
Rosie,
Yeah.
did you say that you have it someplace where we can practice?
right now,
Oh, right now. Oh,
right
okay.
now, but if you want to play around with it, after the meeting, I don't see why. And nothing's going to be tabulated, so I don't see why you can't access it and play around with it after the meeting, if that helps.
Okay. Okay.
Just remember that in the end, if you hit OK and done, you won't have access to it again. But while you're playing around with it, as long as you haven't done that, you can play around with it.
Okay.
So those are the 2 little tricks. You can either change the ranking here manually, or you can just drag and drop. I hope that helps. And you have the practice link as well. Any questions? No?
That's pretty good.
I was probably the only one that was like super excited about the drag and drop capability. I was like, oh, look at that.
For the 16th meeting, everybody really should have them all ranked and brought with them when they come.
Mhm.
Because last time we spent a lot of time doing that. So if you at least have your idea of what you're going to do, it makes it a lot easier, I think. That's what I did last year. And I did it on my own.
Yeah, that's a good idea to have it in a separate sheet of paper or somewhere else, kind of ready to go. That way, when you do get the link, you can just match it.
Yep.
Just know that this link will be erased. So if you, let's say you do your ranking and then you think you're going to be able to use it as a reference that day, you're not, because that link is a practice
Right.
link. So definitely put it, if you're going to come in with your list of 1 through 24, make sure it's on a separate sheet of paper, different spreadsheet or
Mhm.
something. Any questions?
Rosie, it's Esther.
Hi,
Now,
Esther.
hi, the practice link, how long is it gonna stay up in the chat? So once this meeting is over, that's gone? Or like I like to practice it maybe this evening or tomorrow?
I just
So-
copy it, you know, you can copy it.
I can
We can-
send it via email. I have it ready to go, so.
Yeah,
Oh,
that'd be great.
Thank you.
Problem.
All right. So the next item on the agenda is the additional Zoom grants training on application review. Again, I think what we'll do is we'll just move on to item number 7, which is reports from committee members, but we'll stay on. And if anybody wants to stay on to go over Zoom grants, we can definitely do that. Otherwise, we'll just adjourn until next month's meeting. So how does that sound?
Sounds
Mhm.
good.
Okay. All right. So Jason, back to you.
Thank you for doing that, Rosie. Appreciate it. Moving on to number 7 then. Are there any reports from committee members?
No, but
No,
no, but I was just watching the Globe Awards and Mike Butler, who was the fireman in Santa Maria, his grandson got the Globe Award for Elvis Presley, playing Elvis Presley. His name is Austin Butler. Just to let you know,
That's
Mhm.
awesome.
it's for somebody from Santa
Spoiler
Maria.
alert,
Yes.
I'm recording it. Spoiler alert.
Oh,
We'll be hearing from his grandparents.
Okay, if there's nothing else, let's move on to number 8. Rosie?
all right. So proposed agenda items for next month's regular meeting. So the regular meeting will take place Monday, February 13th. As I just shared, that will be a virtual meeting, and we will still be within the Brown Act rules and regulations, which is the virtual meeting Brown Act requirements are still in effect until the end of February. So just wanted to, I know Bob had mentioned it at the last meeting that we should look into that. So we did, and we'll be good. And that will give the agencies an opportunity to attend the meeting without having to drive. And then we will have a special meeting 3 days after that on February 16th, which is a Thursday, and that will be the deliberations, and that will be at the Muscle Senior Center. And we will provide you with additional information as it becomes available.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Sounds good.
There's hot coffee and donuts.
Yeah, we can definitely bring you coffee and donut. That is not a problem. We are happy to feed you.
Oh, there you go. We got something finally.
Yeah, ask and you shall receive. You should have
Yes.
asked for lobster.
And you only get one ask. That's all you
I
get.
know, that's it. Too bad.
All right. If there's nothing else, then I guess I will adjourn the meeting at this time. So thank you all, and good
Okay,
luck with
thank
your
you.
site visits. Oh, one more.
Thank you.
Are the binders able to pick up at the city offices?
Yes, here at our office, which is 110 South Pine, room 107, and we have our doors locked. So you can give us a call or just email us and let us know when you'd like to pick up. We're closed to the public on Friday. I believe Rosie will be here.
I'll be here.
And then we can also drop off too. So just let us know what works for you. And then
Yeah.
I have team leaders as Jason for team 1, Esther for team 2, Bob Doyle team 3, Patricia team 4, and Jose for team 5.
So each one of us will pick up a binder.
The team leaders.
Just a team is okay. That's what I wanted to find out. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but we are happy to drop them off at your house, team leaders, if that's easier, or like if you want to stop by our office, that's fine too. And then like Alicia said, our gates are closed on Fridays, but I'm here and you're welcome to stop by. And you should all have my cell phone number, but if not, I will send it to you so you can always reach out to me if I'm not answering my extension for whatever reason.
I'll try to stop by tomorrow morning to pick it up then.
Okay, sounds good.
Another question. We were to all meet up at the place that we're gonna go out to each one of the sites. We to meet there, or do we meet up at your office?
It just depends on your team and what your plan is. and who
Okay.
Your team members are.
Yeah, Angie, you're with me, so I think we'll just meet at Communify at 9 a.m. and we'll just start there and then go through
Okay.
Oh, I think so. Communify is they're based out of Goleta. So we have that one for our office, and you'll meet in the engineering conference room, I believe. But I'll confirm.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's
You'll
correct.
report to us, and then we'll take you to where your meeting room is. So there are a couple where you'll meet here. So if you look at your site visit schedule, it'll say, for example, DVS, they're going to pick up the team members. So you'll meet at City Hall, but it's all on the site visit schedule. There are a couple that are based in SLO or Lompoc. So those ones we just scheduled a conference room here. That way they would just come to the team members instead of you having to travel. So
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you, Rosie and Alicia. Everything is really organized as per usual.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you
good
so
evening.
Thank you. Stay on if you want Zoom grants training. We'll stay on if anybody wants additional Zoom grants training. Otherwise, we'll see you next month. Stay safe.
All right.
All right.
See
Yeah.
you soon,
Stay
Jason.
dry, everyone.
See you, Jason, on the 25th.
Thank you.